Okay, so this episode is kind of complicated to talk about, and you're gonna be hearing me sound like all over the fucking place with my opinions, because I guess the place to start with this episode is it largely kept itself focused on seeing Sanji getting tortured by Maria, leading up to the final moments of the episode, where we finally see Robin come in and smack the shit out of Maria in the last moments of the episode. And I say finally because with the amount of time simply focused on seeing Sanji doing practically nothing, the episode had this double-edged sword effect where on one hand I feel it did maybe a little bit better than the manga of reinforcing the point that Sanji might be a lot of things. He might be tempted by his baser desires, he might be tempted by lust, all that shit, but the one thing he will never do is turn on his friends unless he knew like in the situation, in what he did with this episode, in the last moments of this episode where he called on Robin. The only reason he did that is because he knew that because he would have only done it if he knew that Robin wasn't going to walk into a trap. But even then, he still put his faith in Robin that she won't that she even put his faith in Robin that she wouldn't even fall into such a trap to begin with either, because, well, we've known Robin to be like, the fact that Robin has survived this long again shows that she wasn't going to fall for such a simple trap either. And as much as the episode did as much as the episode did kind of drag the pacing to a crawl with this episode, I do feel it got that point a little clearer than the manga, honestly. Now, again, despite that praise, like I said, by giving so much focus on this one element of the episode, it really did drag the pacing through the mud, in my opinion. And I think I really would have liked this episode more if they cut down just a little bit on some of the Sanji aspects and the build up to Robin, and the build up to him finally calling on Robin, and have Robin come in at the midway point, and then devote extra time just to adding little extra bits to at least the start of Robin fighting Maria. And because they've already kind of done that with Frankie, so I was kind of expecting it here as well, but they didn't, and that's kind of disappointing in my mind. But maybe they still will add some stuff to the Robin versus Maria fight, maybe, I don't know. Although one thing I will say is I feel the anime is making, despite my back and forth here, I will say one thing concrete to me with this episode is I do feel the anime is making what happens in this part of the arc a lot more clear in terms of just how events play out. Because in the manga, while it wasn't bad, there were certain aspects where it was kind of hard to kind of really make out what exactly was going on. There were times in the manga where it felt like where Oda went for a little bit more of a minimalist approach with some of the artwork in moments like Maria torturing Sanji, to the point where I couldn't even tell what exactly it was he was doing. And maybe some of this stuff in the anime is actually censorship, but I don't know. I think the anime is just making clear of what Maria was doing to Sanji. With that said, let's talk about that in itself, the idea of the anime adding more to Robin's fight with Maria, because honestly, while Robin's fight is one I don't necessarily have a problem with, I am still open to the idea of it adding more to her fight, and I am hoping Toei does this, if for no other reason than just filling in the gaps, because Robin's fight is so interesting to me in the sense of looking back on just how much it just kind of fell by the wayside in the manga, that by the time the fight was over, I just kind of had a bit of whiplash effect. There would be small moments. There would be moments where I'd forget her fight was even happening until we got until events kind of actually switched back to it, and then by the time it was over, I was kind of just left indifferent. I didn't hate the fight, but there was just but with the fight itself, there were just so many narrative gaps, it felt, with her fight, that I've just forgotten kind of it just kind of came and went without me even thinking about it, honestly, and not leaving much of an impression. Which also gets into the other part of it, which is, as we learned from Maria, Kaido is looking to capture Nico Robin, which is not expected, as this is basically something Dogstorm and Cat Viper warned the crew about, that there would be people coming after her. And kind of spoiling here, but while I don't deny that pretty much could still happen, don't go thinking it's gonna happen here, because again, spoiler alert, but nothing happens to Robin in this arc, at least not yet. I don't know if Oda's got any plans to do something since the manga has entered its post-Wano phase, but yeah, as far as like, if you're kind of hoping, kind of going on the edge of your seat thinking, is Robin gonna get captured by Maria? Hate to burst your bubble or spoil it for you, but it's not gonna happen. And I know I'm kind of being an ass by spoiling it, but it just isn't gonna happen, unfortunately, guys. Now that's not to say there wasn't any worth to this episode, as probably my favorite part of this episode was when we cut back to, was the two moments that really got to me was the moment we cut back to Wano and Carrot versus Sparrow, and for however short the part of the episode was, it was still a pretty cool segment, especially with Carrot's trick of like using the electricity from her body to melt the candy, and honestly, just kind of makes me realize even more just how much Oda kind of robbed Carrot of her victory against Sparrow. Like, I don't know, like, I get it in the sense where the Sparrow is the more experienced fighter, but it really should have been her that defeated Sparrow. Like, I don't care how much more experienced the guy is, it just felt like it should have been her who took him down instead of who eventually does do it. But the other moment I really like in this episode is just a small moment where we see where Boss Hyo like kind of slowly transform into an Ice Oni, and then that moment where he like turns back into his like, I guess, youthful side, like just seeing that animated, that was like really like just seeing him, that like how he was in his prime, that was just kind of a really badass moment. But another interesting thing about this episode is it gives us a more fleshed out look at Kaido's surveillance network through Kaido's spy, like Prince Bao Hong or something. And when we first covered this in the manga, I kind of waved this aside as some kind of filler thing. Like, I mean, I knew it was important to know this, but I didn't consider just how important it was. And looking back, like Bao Hong is basically more or less the reason you could say that the Animal Kingdom pirates are as organized as they are, even in the midst of like all the chaos going on in the battle. Like the fact that Bao Hong operates in the way she does, it really is kind of one of those things that you can say that Bao Hong is the glue that helps to keep like Kaido's forces organized. And among all, through Bao Hong though, we learn that there is someone helping the samurai, and the anime does make it a little more obvious. It's pretty much Yori, whereas the manga, it's one of those things where we kind of knew it was her, but they left it vague as well. But apples and oranges kind of thing. But yeah, guys, that's pretty much all I got for this review. If you enjoyed the video, like, comment, subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, Analyst Crunchyroll. Be sure to notification bell, the subscribe button, and just share the video around, guys. Dark Knight of Anime, signing off. Better everyone.